your water, get your water. Come on up in here. Come on up in here if you got a little time. Because this one is about to get real spicy. Pull up. Monica. Seagull hard like corn liquor. I send you out of this world like you was born. Today we're going to be talking about Mr. Raful Edmonds and a couple of other people. Let them get them notifications out so we could get some people in the building so we could talk about it. Warm nigga, seagull hard like corn liquor. I send you out of this world like you was born, nigga. Yes, sir. Yeah, man, we gonna talk about it. How to get away with murder, right? And for you smart people, you super intelligent people, don't take that too literal. Don't take this like this is about to be a serial killer class and, you know, how you could commit the perfect murder. It's not about to be that. But it's definitely going to be an interesting topic. Share the video. Share the video. And when you come in the building, like the video. Like the video as you come into the building. Appreciate you. We got one in the building. We got one like. You definitely don't want to miss this. Share the video. I'm just trying to wait for a couple of seconds. Let a couple of people get in here and then we going to go. And I'm going to give you a little tidbit, right? While you waiting. So just recently, we had somebody that was released from prison. From federal prison by the name of Raful Edmonds. He was the biggest DC drug kingpin that ever existed. And when he originally got locked up, he was sentenced to life in prison. He got locked up in 1989. He was serving life in prison. Somewhere during that time frame, during that time period, he was able to give his life sentence back. And now he just got freed a couple of days ago. And the reason why we're going to talk about this, and shout out to DC, you know, shout out to everybody in DC, right? This one is going to be a little painful because for years, they've been talking about, people from DC, YouTubers, bloggers, everybody been getting online talking about Alpo and how foul he was for snitching and bringing down the DC people and the DC organizations. And now look at what we have. Mr. Raful Edmonds did 35 years. He had life in prison, but he just got released from prison. Forget all of the drugs that he was accused of selling, but all of the murders that was committed. DC, if you know somebody from DC, share this video with them because we need them to help us understand how Mr. Raful Edmonds, who had life in prison, was able to get out of jail after 35 years. That's called tattletailing at its finest. So no bloggers, nobody from DC can no more talk about New York, Alpo, and what he did and who he told on, because y'all had the biggest drug kingpin of DC. Matter of fact, he was making about $1 million, $2 million a day, allegedly. Yet he became the biggest tattletailer. This man was in federal custody for the past 20 years, wearing a wire with a mic. Chief, I'm on my way. Yo, he told on everybody. And I was just watching a video yesterday. I can't remember the dude channel. But I think it's DC Blacks or something like that. He was like, yo, you know, I got the information, but I was just waiting to see how other people feel. Look, listen, I don't remember your name or whatever, Eon, something like that. DC Blacks channel. Okay, look, you in the YouTube community, you can do whatever you want to do. You can speak about whatever you want to speak about, right? But it to me it's kind of funny that you always talking about, you know, this dude real, this dude stand up dude. You talk about all of the stand up dudes in DC. You talk about all of the dudes who stood up in prison and who is representing in DC prison. But now one of y'all most famous celebrities or individuals or dudes from the street is some dirt on his name, and now you're trying to tread carefully in terms of if you're gonna give out the information or not. Like, come on, man, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. Like, that's not even journalism. You know, and Eon, I watched a couple of your videos, you know, listened to a couple of the stories or whatever. And again, I can't tell you what kind of journalism to give, but I just thought that that was kind of funny that now Mr. Raful Edmonds is released. He's released from prison after doing 35 years, after having life in jail, lights out, no possibility of parole. But now you don't want to speak about him. But I get it though. It's like protecting the home team crowd. And see, one thing about Alpo from New York, and you know, I was young when Alpo was out there. But one thing about Alpo from New York is that people from New York spoke about him and actually said, like, yeah, the man was a snitch. Yeah, he was dirty. Yeah, he was no good. Yeah, he was foul. It spoke about all of that. Ain't nobody try to hide it. Ain't nobody try to protect it. He did what he did. What Alpo approach was though, and I'm just telling you what I feel, telling you what I think, and then we gonna get into the meat and potatoes because this is for anybody in the streets. Listen, when you come in the building, like the video, share this with anybody in the streets, share this with anybody who thinking about being in the streets, because this shit is about to get real. Trust and believe. Now, the one thing about Alpo, what he did was he said, you know what? I'm from New York, right? I'm down here in DC. I got all of this dirt on these DC individuals. So I'm going to use this as an opportunity to get out of jail. Why? Because I'm going to be welcome back in New York. So there's a lot of people in New York that he could have brung down. There's a lot of people he could have told on, a lot of people he could have gave some information on. He probably would have got out of jail sooner. But what he decided to do, he's like, man, I'm going to tell on dudes from DC. Now, this is not about whether I support snitches, whether I'm riding with snitches, whether I'm against snitches. Look, again, I'm no longer in the streets. I'm a civilian. I'm giving you my opinions. My hope is to encourage people to not go to the streets because the streets is washed up. The streets is overrated. And these is prime examples of why you can't trust the streets, right? So Alpo decided to make that move. He decided to do what he did. All right, cool. He got released from prison, and then his karma caught up with him because he got murdered a couple of years ago. His karma caught up with him, and you know that's kind of what happened. But what I want to know is why is it that DC people from DC they've been knowing for years that Raful Edmonds was in the federal penitentiary giving up information? Why ain't nobody been speaking about it? Now that he's home, now it's official that he's home. Now everybody's speaking about it. But I think they say he came out like a couple of years ago. But let me tell y'all why this whole story is interesting and why I decided to use this as a topic, right? Because it's only one rule in the streets. It's only one rule in the streets. This is for everybody who in the streets now, who was in the streets way back when, who trying to understand the streets, who's playing a little bit in the street, who got one foot on the sidewalk, one foot in the street. It's only one rule to the streets, and that's called survival. It's called survival. So when you hear stories about people that done snitched, people that done gave up information, people that done brung down whole crews, people that was cooperating with the government, when you hear those stories, you should not be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised. The reason why you shouldn't be surprised is because this is what happened in the streets. This been going on since the beginning of time. So think about this now. You want to play in the streets. You want to be gang. You want to ride a slide on the app. You want to do all of that fancy. How do you think the police be knowing what doors to kick in, what houses to raid, who to go after when they trying to take somebody down? Help me understand, how do the police know this? See, a lot of y'all been under the illusion that snitching is something that just came about with some individuals. Look, if you didn't hear before, I'm going to tell you again. It's only one rule in the street, and that rule is survival. You got some dudes that they play the game to win, right? When you play the game to win, that means there's no rules. See, this is what the streets is about. The reason why things get twisted is because some people in the streets, based on who they deal with, they think that it's all of these rules. There's really no rules in the game. There's really no rules in the streets. There's really no rules in the game. The streets is a dirty game. Look, the streets is a shortcut to success. That's what it is. It's a hustle. It's a shortcut to success. So in order for you to survive and to thrive in the streets, you got to be treacherous, which means you got to be one of them stone cold. You feel what I'm saying? You got to be one of them stone cold hitters that's willing to take anybody out. You got to be willing to take over anybody block. You got to be heartless to extents. See, when I was in the streets, I was thinking like, hey, because I had a reputation and I was running around, doing things. I thought that meant something. But now, since it been a few years since I've been, out the streets, I'm looking back and I'm like, man, I wasn't really nobody. But everybody in the streets, they think that there's somebody. Now, let's go back to Mr. Raful Edmonds, right? And for those of y'all that don't know the story, he's one of the biggest drug kingpins out of Washington, D.C., right? You can't even count the amount of bodies that he's known for, be it he has something to do with it himself or he sent some hitters. This is allegedly, right? They say he was making like about $1 million, $2 million a day, allegedly. So he was like the big dog. He was one of the top dogs. He's the one that most everybody else in DC, he was the one that they was mimicking and imitating and trying to be like. Okay, so now Raful Edmonds get locked up in 1989. He gets sentenced to life in prison. It's a lot to the story. I'm not gonna go into the whole story, but that was the situation with him. He get life in prison. Now, while he's in prison, he connected with a couple of people from, first he connected with some people from the Medellin cartel. Connected with them, he was flooding the jails with drugs. He was flooding the streets with drugs. Everybody in DC was loving this. Because it was like, yeah, man, Mr. Raful Edmonds, he's still on top. He was flooding the prison with drugs, flooding the streets with drugs. He was still doing his thing. Mind you, he already got a life sentence, right? He already got a life sentence at this time. Once he got caught, once another indictment came down, once they came to him, when they figured out, okay, well, he's still doing his thing in jail, he's still making it happen in the streets, he decided to testify. And him testifying, he brung down people in the cartels. He brung down people in DC. I'm talking about nasty. He was actually giving up information for the past 10, 20 years. Can't tell me nobody in DC ain't know that. And this is not a personal shot to DC, but the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is because there's so many people from DC who has so much to say about New York because of what Alpo did. Like everybody in New York has something to do with that situation, you know? Um, but one thing about Alpo is he accepted what it was that he did. And this may sound strange, it may sound funny, and it may sound odd to a lot of people, but people like Alpo, even people like Raful Edmonds, they knew and they understood something that a lot of people don't understand, right? What they understood was it's all good to be known as a stand-up individual, as a stand-up guy, as a stand-up whoever you are. But once you get a taste of prison, one thing you want is to get back to society, to get back to the free world. That's the one thing that you want. That's what everybody wants. Now, in order for people like Alpo and Raful Edmonds, and there's a couple of others, to give up information, you got to have a lot of heart to do that. I ain't gonna lie. You got to have a lot of heart to do that. The reason why you got a lot of heart to do that, because especially if you're in prison and you giving up information, it's like your life is on the line. Your life is in jeopardy. Every second of every day, your life is in jeopardy. Whoever it is that you telling on, if they find out where your family live, they find out, where anybody that's close to you live, you putting their life in jeopardy. So for people like Alpo and for people like Raful Edmonds to like take that position and be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna give up some information to get to the streets. They have a lot of heart, and a lot of people don't got a heart to do that. There's so many people, and this is a guess. This is a guess. There's so many people in prison that wish they had another opportunity to get to the streets, but it's just some things that they not gonna do. But if they had an opportunity to, if it was a way for certain people in prison to give information and it not be found out, I guarantee you would have a whole lot more snitches. You would have a whole lot more snitches. And snitches is really smart people. It's not that I agree with them. It's not that I disagree with them. But snitches are very smart people. And a lot of them are like masterminds in terms of their thinking. See, what they figure out how to do is manipulate the system. Manipulate the system. Like, okay, so I'm in prison. I got the rest of my life in jail. It's all of these crimes, all of these people in jail that are still committing crimes that I'm around right now. Nobody knows about. It's some big dogs, there's some hitters in here. What am I going to do? So they sit back and they kind of come up with a plan in their mind on how they're going to get information from dudes who trust them, then get in contact with the government and say, I got some information to take some people down so that they could get back to freedom. It's like, that's some real cold-hearted and calculated kind of individuals. I ain't gonna lie to you. You ever been in jail? Yeah, Zion, I've been in jail. I did 15 years in jail. I did 15 years straight, right? And being in jail, that's the closest place to hell that you could be on earth. I ain't gonna lie to you. But these dudes sit down and actually figure out a way how to manipulate the system. And so all of the crimes that they committed, be it the murders, be it the drug selling, everything it is that they did, now they could make a deal with the government and all of that stuff could get swiped under the rug. It's like, they some smart individuals. Trust and believe. Now, this is very interesting, right? And I'm gonna speak about it because there's two YouTubers. There's two YouTubers out there right now. I'm not gonna get their names because this is not about trying to bash anybody. This is about like, trying to get people to understand how deep the streets is. So there's at least two individuals on YouTube that are YouTubers, right? That they got, decent platforms. They got a little name for themselves. For what? I've been to prison for a couple of different things: attempt murder, weapons possession, robberies, so forth and so on, right? So there's two YouTubers who allegedly gave up information and was released from prison. A lot of people know about them. A lot of people heard of them. I'm not going to give their names because this is not about bashing. But in my mind, I'm like, so what is it about the system, the prison system, the feds, the DEA? What is it about them that they would let somebody accused of murder or being a kingpin go free? Like what is it? It just make it seem like the streets is all one big game. You cannot win in the streets. The shit is rigged. If you playing in the streets, you losing your mind. You're not going to win. The game is not designed for you to win. Now, I would just before I jumped on live, I was, trying to get my thoughts in order. But I don't know if y'all heard about it recently, right? So you got somebody by the name of El Chapo. El Chapo, Mexican drug kingpin, billionaire, right? You can't get no bigger than El Chapo unless you in a cartel. He's the one that founded the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico. Right now, El Chapo is locked up in the United States in Florida ADX or Colorado ADX prison, right? And he got life in prison. Where they got him housed at, he got a whole entire like wing to himself. He can't be around no other prisoners or nothing because he escaped from jail a couple of times in Mexico. This dude was a multi-billionaire. He was responsible for shipping a lot of the cocaine and other drugs into the United States for years, right? They finally caught him. Mind you, he's a billionaire. They finally caught him. Now, he had a partner named Israel Zambada. Listen to this right now. Hit the like button, but listen to this. Listen to this information. So he had a partner named Israel Zambada, aka El Mayo, right? Now, El Mayo been wanted by the United States government, by the feds, the DA, or whatever. They've been wanted for the past, he been wanted for the past 20, 30 years. He's been able to get away. He was wanted way before El Chapo. Before they just caught him a couple of days ago, he was the longest person that was on the run, from the cartels. He's been on the run for like about 20, 30 years, right? So what winds up happening is, and this is crazy. Listen to this clear. Share this message with anybody that you know who want to play in the streets, who think they tough, who think they killers, who think they gangsters. That shit is overrated. That shit is for the movies. It's not even real. And the people that convince themselves this is who they is, this is how they get tricked out of position, right? So now, Israel Zambada El Mayo, him and El Chapo formed the Sinaloa cartel together. He been on the run for almost 30 years. They ain't even know how this man look. Now, one of El Chapo's sons, I'm just gonna give y'all bits and pieces. I gotta give y'all this so y'all can understand like how deep this is. One of El Chapo's sons got arrested probably like a year or two ago, right? Now, that same son was released. He was in federal custody. They went to Mexico and got him, put him on planes, flew him to the United States and put him in federal custody. He was about to go to jail because they say like the Sinaloa cartel is, one of those cartels who've been flooding the United States with fentanyl. And fentanyl is one of those drugs that's killing a lot of people in the United States. So when it comes to that, Carter, what's going on? How you doing? So when it comes to that, it's like, yeah, they want to get you out of the way, right? So make a long story short, El Chapo's son comes from jail. El Mayo gets locked up the following day. The following day. And y'all don't believe, I'm going to give you more. Just be patient. I'm going to show you how deep this is and why you can't win in the streets, right? So now, hold on, where's that? Right here. Damn, I'm trying to see the, oh, okay. I'm trying to show y'all the title. So now it comes out that El Chapo other son, met with El Mayo. They were supposed to have been having a meeting to discuss some business or whatever. They met with El Mayo. They backed out on him, right? Backed out on him, took the guns from his soldiers or whatever, put him in a plane in the airport, and then sent him to the United States. Well, they handed him over. They handed him over to the United States government. Now, look at this. Check this out. I don't know if y'all can see it, but that's the article. And I'm going to read some of it for you so y'all can understand how deep the streets is. Now, think about this for a second. El Chapo, who's currently serving life in jail right now, he had 4 sons, I believe. He had 3 sons and then he had a stepson. So he had 4 kids, right? Him and El Mayo started the Sinaloa cartel together. El Mayo was already on a run way before him and Chapo got together, right? They said he was one of the smoothest dudes, like you could not catch him. But El Chapo's son set him up and turned him over to the American authorities, and right now he's sitting in federal prison. Now, when he got locked up, one of El Chapo's sons came out of jail. So now tell me, if you in the streets, or you play in the streets, or you know people that's in the street, tell me how can you win? We talking about, this is a cartel from another country. The United States army is so strong, their resources is so great that they able to go to a whole nother country and snatch somebody out of the country and come and put them in prison here in the United States. What makes you think anybody here in the United States that's running the streets got a chance? For one, your gun's not big enough, your arm's not long enough, you definitely not smart enough because it's too much technology. Why am I saying this? Why am I talking about this? Why is this important? When there's so many other things that y'all could be doing, that y'all could be spending y'all time doing. Why do I have y'all on live and I'm explaining this information to you? Because it's important that you know. It's important that you understand. El Chapo being in jail, right? And having life in jail, no possibility of him coming out. You're not getting broken out of jail in the United States. That's just not happening. On the federal level, you're not. Some of the state jails, yeah, people been breaking out. But a federal jail where they giving you life in jail and you like, nah, you're not getting out. El Chapo's sons crossed the founder, the one who founded the Sinaloa cartel with their father. They crossed him and turned him over. Why? Because he's a bigger fish than they is. El Chapo was saying when they had him on trial a couple of years ago, he was saying like he was the puppet and Zambada was the puppet master. El Mayo was the puppet master. I'm not going to say he told his sons to turn over El Mayo so that they could get out. But look, let me tell you something about El Chapo. And he got a Netflix series. He got a Netflix series out called El Chapo. El Chapo was one of the biggest drug lords, biggest cartel leaders that we ever gonna see, right? Um, Now, El Chapo, how he was able to stay free for so long, how El Chapo was able to stay free so long. You could go look at the stories. You could check out the Netflix series too. How he was able to stay free for so long because he was giving up his friends and his enemies. Every time they was trying to come for him, he would give up a stash house. He would give up, another big name that they was looking for. He would give up, shipments. And people knew this. Other cartel bosses, people that dealt with El Chapo, they knew this. They knew he was giving up information. They knew he was working with the government. They knew this about him. But it was nothing that they could do about it. Because if you go against El Chapo, you got to be ready to go to war. And the fact that he got people in the government in his pocket feeding him information, or he feeding them information, and he got a thing where he feel like, okay, well, I got immunity from prosecution. That's why he was able to stay on top for so long, giving up information. And now look how the fruit don't fall too far from the tree. Now his sons is doing the same thing. Mind you, they billionaires. His sons is doing the same thing. Now they giving up information. And Zambada El Mayo is probably the one that raised them, probably the one that kept them safe, that was taking care of them, that was making sure their mother and their kids and everything was free from harm. And they flipped on him to save themselves. So now, again, pay attention. This is the cartel. These are billionaires. These are the ones that ship all of the drugs here to the United States. These are the ones that they walking around with high-powered rifles and guns, and they killing people all day, every day in Mexico or wherever country they from. Mexico and Colombia, they have like the biggest cartels. But this is what they doing all day, every day. So why do somebody from the United States, no matter what state you from the hood, you from the urban area, even if you out from the country or you from the suburbs somewhere, what makes you think just because you got a Draco with an extended clip, or just because you got a little handgun with 100 rounds, what makes you think that you're gonna win the game? What makes you think that you're gonna survive the streets? What makes you think that? What makes you think if you got 3.5 grams that you a kingpin? Like, what makes you think because you sell drugs, because you commit crimes, because you destroy your community, because you got a name for yourself, what makes you think that eventually they're not going to catch up with you? And trust and believe, it's a lot of people out there giving information. It's not just the Raful Edmonds. These are people that we know. But when things like this happen, when news like this come out, that people like Raful Edmonds was giving up information, it just kind of lets you know how twisted the game is and how much the game in the streets is an illusion, and why you shouldn't play in the streets. I do my little commentary, I drop my little videos, but sometimes you got to have real conversation. And ultimately, I started off running the streets when I was a little kid. I was 8 years old, 7, 8 years old. Started off doing little things, and then it graduated to other things, running the streets, committing crimes, served time in prison, came home, and I had to figure it out, right? But it's too many. It's too many of us now or in the past that's dedicating a life to the streets or giving a life to the streets. You got situations like Julio Fulio, that just got taken out a couple of weeks ago in Jacksonville. And it's like, okay, all for what though? You know, he lost his life. It's going to be a couple of RIPs. People going to put your name on a t-shirt, put your face on a t-shirt. They're going to play your music. They're going to see how much they miss you. And then a couple of years pass, it's only a couple of people that's going to remember you. So the best thing to do is go get a job at Home Depot. Go get a job at Amazon because they hiring. And Amazon, they got opportunity for advancement. So you could go there. You could start off as a driver, and who knows where you're going to go from there, right? Um, We got to stop with the illusion that the streets is the place to be. The streets is the thing to be. So even if y'all see these super tough individuals, you see the ones with all the guns, you see the ones always talking all of this gangster, high power, gangster, all of that shit is an illusion. Because if you look at a lot of dudes that did a whole lot of time in prison, they didn't came out here and they didn't sat their monkey ass down. They talking a different kind of language. They don't want no parts of prison. They don't want no parts of the streets because they realize what it's all about. You got a young rap artist from New York by the name of K Flock, right? Young dude, what his name? Kevin Perez or something like that. K Flock. Now, he's what, about 19, 20 years old, 21 years old. He was one of the hottest rap recording art, well, drill artists that we have out here in New York. And he got locked up for a murder, right? Allegedly, he killed somebody and it was caught on camera. And then he was in a famous New York prison, Rikers Island, waiting to see what's going to happen with his case. Well, because he had gang ties, right? And because there was so many videos out of him, just doing so many different things, what happened is the feds came in and snatched the case. Now, let me tell you why I believe the feds came in and snatched the case. Because although it was on video and it was alleged that K Flock killed somebody, right? The dude came out of the barbershop and he was coming at K Flock. Now, whether he had a gun or not, nobody knows this. We didn't get all of the news. We didn't get all of that information. But K Flock lawyers, because he got a little bit of money, he could have spent it on okay, well, it was a case of self-defense. Yes, he murdered a person, but, he was in fear of his life. So he could have got something like involuntary manslaughter, which carries probably a max of about 15 years. And then he could have got locked up for weapon possession because it's not legal to carry weapons in New York. So altogether, he could have got about, let's say, 25 years, right? With a good plea bargain, he could have plea bargained and got 15 years, and he would have been back out. The feds saw this. So the feds indicted him on RICO charges. See, this is how they turn your lights out. This is how they get rid of you. This is how they get you out the way, especially if they feel you are an influential individual and you got the ability to lead others to do things. They smack you with that RICO so they can sit you down. So if you in the streets and you still working with 3.5 grams, be it, weed or whatever, if that's what you working with and the feds ain't snatch you, you ain't about that life. And they ain't really checking for you. You ain't really nobody until you come up on the feds radar. And when you come up on the feds radar, they gonna knock your head off. They gonna knock your whole top off. So this is what you gotta understand. So now again, K Flock, rising drill artist, had beef. There's a lot of videos of him out there threatening people. He riding, he sliding on the ops, he doing this. It look cute. It look cute for the cameras. He go on Instagram, he get a lot of likes. He got a lot of followers. He got a lot of females on him, right? He got a lot of people checking for him. So he feeling like, yeah, I'm that guy. But now, because the feds knew you was going to beat the case, now what they do, they switch the game on you. Now they're like, okay, Rico, hit him with the indictment. Because now, and the feds is different. I never been to the feds. If it's somebody in the chat that been to the feds before, y'all could clarify things. In terms of the feds, I could only go off of what I heard, right? But I do know that the feds, they have what's called guidelines, which means they can enhance your sentence. What that means is you could get locked up for the feds for one charge, right? Now, it go by something like a point system where if you got previous arrests, then that'll bring your sentence up. If you got previous convictions, meaning you got convicted before, that could bring your sentence up. If you served time before, that could bring your sentence up. It's like, so you could get locked up by the feds and you could be facing 10 years. And if they want to enhance you, they can enhance you. You'll be sitting in there doing 30 years. So do yourself a favor, man. Stay out the streets. If you're going to be in the streets, just let it be like you crossing the street to get to the other side. Like let it be that. Because a lot of y'all don't understand the streets. And even for the ones that you like y'all not in the streets, but you glorify people in the streets. Like, stop being dumb already. All right. Stop thinking like that shit is cool, because it's not cool. A lot of them dudes don't realize what's facing them once they go to prison. And when you got stories like this dude, Raful Edmonds, who had life in prison, and he decided, like, okay, I'm gonna give up some information so I could get up out of here. That lets you know how real prison is. Prison ain't no joke. You got people getting murdered in jail every day. You got people getting violated in jail. That's the closest thing to hell on earth, man. Y'all better wise up. And this is why my title says, like, you know, it's people getting away with murder. Like, yeah, you got people really out here getting away with murder. Like, is it possible to get away with murder? Yes. Look at Raful Edmonds. It's a couple of other YouTubers on here who, you know, they got some Raful Edmonds kind of situations and circumstances. They gave up some information to get out of jail, and they out here enjoying their life. They out here living their best life. You could call them snitch, you could call them informant, you could call them government witness, you could call them whatever it is that you want. But these dudes, they came to an understanding like, man, you know what? I'd rather for somebody to call me out my name and I could be out here in the free world than to be sitting in jail making everybody think that I'm so real and I'm so official and I'm so tough. All of that shit is an illusion. Ain't nobody in jail because they want to be in jail. And if you ever been in jail and you did some time, I'm not talking about no year, no 2 years, no 3 years. I'm talking about you did some time, like you did over 10 years straight at one time. A lot of them dudes is not out here, be it New York or anywhere else. A lot of them dudes is not out here trying to get caught up and go to jail and do no time. That shit is corny. Jail is really for the birds. Look, let me tell you something about jail that a lot of people don't understand. Okay, so when you in jail, you are 150% dependent on people that's in society. Let me say that again. If you in jail, you are 150% dependent on people on the outside world. The only way you gonna get money on your books is if somebody from the outside world send it to you. It don't matter if you was a multi-millionaire in the streets, you was getting all of this money in the streets. That don't matter. Somebody have to send the money to you for it to be on your books. The only way you're going to get clothes, somebody from the outside world have to send you clothes. To get certain items that's not in the prison commissary or canteen, somebody from the outside world have to send it to you. To get visits, somebody from the outside world have to send it to you. If you want to jump on the phone and call somebody in the outside world have to pick up that phone. So which means they got to put their Snapchat down. They got to put their Instagram down. You know, don't go to the club. Don't be hanging out with nobody. Like, they have to make themselves available to answer your phone call. If nobody in society make themselves available to answer a phone call for you, then guess what? You're not going to be on the phone. So what happens is it makes you angry, right? It makes you angry to the point that you arguing with your loved ones, you know, you cursing out people that, you know, you had real good relationships with, you getting in confrontation in prison because you frustrated. You frustrated because you are 150% dependent on other people in society. Now, let me give you another side of the coin. When you're in prison, every single thing that you do is controlled by somebody else. Meaning, the time you go outside, when you could go outside, you're told when you could do that by prison officials, by correction officers. You can't go outside when you want to go outside. You can't take showers when you want to take showers. You know, you can't eat whatever it is that you want to eat. It's like, it's shit is crazy, it's stressful. So what wound up happening is a lot of dudes that think they killers, think they tough, think they gangsters, they gang. When they go to prison, they get a rude awakening. and then they have a change of heart. Then they be sitting in the Christian, they be sitting in the Christian church, the Christian services. They go to the Muslim services. They want to pick up religion to help them get through their bed, you know? And that shit ain't cool. So, yeah, man, DC, sorry to say, y'all can't talk about New York no more and Alpo being a big informant. Like, he's not the first and he's not going to be the last. And I'm pretty sure that's not the only person from DC or anywhere in the world that gave up information or took people down. But New York, I'm not going to lie. New York has some famous informants, some famous snitches. And usually the people that be snitching, they be like real, like big time. They be like bosses and shit like that. Like remember how John Gotti got taken down by Sammy the Bull. Sammy the Bull was like one of his biggest enforcers. I think they said at one time Sammy the Bull had 30 to 40 bodies or something like that. He was like an enforcer for John Gotti, you know? And by the way, free Cartel. See? Free Vibes Cartel. If you don't know who Vibe Cartel, he's somebody that do dancehall, reggae music, Caribbean music, whatever you want to call it. He just got released yesterday for a murder that he allegedly committed. They didn't find no body. They didn't have enough evidence. Although he went to jail and he got found guilty of the crime, 13 years later, they just released him. Is it possible to get away with murder? Yeah, it is. But what are the odds? And how many people get away with it? And do it even make sense to kill anybody or to take anybody else's life? That's what I want to know. Like, what do y'all feel? What do y'all feel about somebody taking somebody else's life? What do y'all feel about that? What are y'all thoughts about that? Somebody killing somebody else. That's what I want to know. What are y'all thoughts? What are y'all feelings behind a person who takes the life of somebody else? I want to know y'all real thoughts. I want to know y'all real feelings, because do we really think about this? Like the people that we look up to, the people that we admire, the people that we call, oh, they the most realest individuals, that, you know, they murderers. Why do we idolize, or why do we look up to people that's out here taking other people's lives? Like, do you ever sit back and think about this? Like, man, if this person could take this person's life or these people's life, they won't hesitate to take my life. So why do we look up to these people? Why do we glorify these people? Why do we honor these people? People that take other people's lives. This is what I want to know. And I'm not being hypocritical because at one point in time, like in my younger years, I was the same way. I was one that was looking up to, you know, the dudes that was doing stuff in the hood and the community, and I wanted to be like them. It took me until I got older to understand why I want to be like them. Man, listen, when you dirt broke, you fucked up, you poor, your family is strung out on drugs, you ain't got nothing going on in life. You looking in the refrigerator, ain't too much food in there. You hungry. You looking at the people that you know got all the attention. They got the females. They got the money. They got the cars. They popular. They famous. You know, they look like they somebody. This is who we idolize. We idolize those people. Why? Because we don't got nothing else, and there's nobody else in the neighborhood to idolize. Nobody don't idolize 9 to 5 workers. Nobody don't idolize you if you work in Taco Bell. Nobody don't respect you if you flipping burgers in Burger King, you know? So that's kind of the illusion that we get caught up in and start thinking that those people start thinking that those people, the killers, the gangsters, the drug dealers, the shooters, that's when we get caught up in that illusion where we thinking that these people is really somebody. But we don't really take a second to understand that all they doing is destroying the community. And that shit is crazy, you know? Think about how many people that you know, that you heard of, are in prison right now because they was following somebody else. Think of how many people you know that was good at basketball, good at football, good at baseball, that was real talented, that had talents, and now they sitting in prison doing a whole lot of time because they wanted to be down, because they wanted to follow somebody else. That shit is sad, you know? It's sad, man. But we will follow somebody to do something wrong, but if somebody is trying to teach you how to start a business, or somebody trying to educate you, like teach you some stuff that you really don't know, you not concerned, like you're not interested, like that shit is corny. No, it's corny because you think that all of the other things that's going on is in the world that's exciting, you think that that's going to last forever, and none of that's going to last forever. Y'all literally be out here wasting y'all teen years, y'all 20s, y'all 30s, y'all 40s, y'all 50s. Y'all literally waste all of those years doing much of nothing. And then once you get 50 and once you get 60 years old, and you start looking at everybody around you, start looking at the fact that your circumstances is the same, that you still live in the same neighborhood, you still live in the same house, you struggling. Now at 50, 60 years old, you want to get it together because you listening to the wrong information, you idolizing the wrong thing, you know? Like even here on YouTube, right? Content creator, or just somebody getting in front of the camera talking whatever it is that they talk. It's a lot of people that's on social media, right? Social media is a place. Social media is like the army. Social media is the army. You could literally be who and whatever you want to be on social media. So you got some people, they come up here, they lie all the time. You got some people get up here, they trying to convince you of things that's not reality. Um, you got some people who come up here with humor. You got some people who come up here with serious things. You got some people that are leaders. You got some people that are followers. You got some people that are bandwagon. I look at some of the people that got social media well, YouTube specifically. I look at some of the people that got these social media pages, and a lot of what they say and what they do, it don't add up. It's like YouTube is a world again where people are trying to be something or somebody. And then you have people that watch these people, and they look up to these people. They rate these people. They big these people up. So it's like everywhere you turn, we got more and more examples of people that are failures that other people are trying to look up to. Crazy. Crazy the world that we live in, right? But yeah, man, it is possible to get away with murder, man. It happens all the time. Don't y'all be surprised behind a lot of what you hear and a lot of what you see. Don't be surprised. You know, for let's take it away from the streets. Let's take it away from the people that give up information. You got people that even if you in working class society, right? Even if you regular 9 to 5 worker, you got people that because they want your job title, they want your job position, they cross you. You got people that you call and you consider friends that are close to you, that'll steal from you, that'll lie to you, that'll sell you out if it was going to save them. See, it's a personality trait. I'm going to get Dr. Phil. I should put on my glasses, right? So I could get Dr. Phil. So we could get really deep into the mind and understanding how people think. You don't have to be in the streets to get sold out, to get snitched on, to get set up, lined up, whatever you want to call it. You don't have to be in the streets to experience that. Those are personality traits and characteristics that some people have. In their mind, they're going to sink the ship just so they could go free, you know? They're going to make sure everybody else lose so they could win. This is the kind of world and this is the kind of society that we live in. And there's really no defense against it, to be honest. You can't fight against it. How can you fight against, or how can you prepare against somebody that you feel in your heart, you close to, or that you got love for, and this person cross you? How can you prepare for that? How can you prepare for that? What defense can you have against that? This is what I want to know. Because a lot of times we don't know who's going to cross us. A lot of times we don't know. A lot of times we don't know who's going to snake us. A lot of times we don't know who's going to backbite us. A lot of times we don't know who's going to hate on us. A lot of times we don't know who's plotting to take us down. But depending on the lifestyle that you live, it increases the chances of it happening. And that's what the streets is about. The streets increases the chances that you're going to go through some things that you wish, you could regret. Now, I know it may sound corny, be it me or anybody else telling you like, man, focus on your education, man, get you a good job, man, get you in a good relationship and, have some kids, pay attention to the people in your circle, don't be out there spreading yourself thin and trying to deal with anybody. It may sound corny saying that. It may sound corny saying that. It may sound corny to you hearing that. But that's really the reality. Because let's think about the people that we idolize out there, right? Let's go away from the streets for a second. Let's think about the people that we idolize. Okay, so some of the people that a lot of people are idolizing nowadays is celebrities, right? Celebrities could be rap artists. Celebrities could be entertainers. Celebrities could be sports figures, right? Nowadays in our society, this is what people are idolizing. People are looking up to these kind of people. Now, ask yourself, why? Why are people looking up to celebrities? Why are people looking up to rap artists? Why are people looking up to famous people? Why do you think people are looking up to these people? People are looking up to these people because they look at these people as ones that are doing better than them, and ones that are living a life or have a life that they wish they had. So if you thought it was a big mystery as to why people look up to other people, I just solved it for you. People look up to people that are doing better than them. It ain't no real love. It ain't no real, admiration. You look up to people because they got a lot of jewelry, they got a lot of money. You see nice cars, you see nice houses, but you don't never take the time to get to know those people. You probably never gonna have an opportunity to get to know those people. Some of them got some real messed up characters, some real messed up characteristics about themselves. Like every so often you hear, oh, this one was doing this one was doing that. You hear some controversy because you're admiring people based on what it is that they have, not who they are. So when you find yourself getting caught up in a situation where somebody cross you, uh, where somebody backbite you, where somebody take advantage, when you get caught up in certain situations, it's not on them, it's on you. See, you was dealing with them for an illusion. You didn't take time to get to know who they was. And then a lot of times you see how they deal with other people. You see how they treat other people, and you think the shit is funny. And you think, oh, because y'all cool, it'll never happen to you. Like if you witness and you observe somebody do some snake shit, then even if they did it to somebody else, 9 times out of 10, they could do the same thing to you, or they're gonna do the same thing to you. It's just a matter of time. It's just probably the opportunity didn't present itself as of yet. So get to know who people are, not get to know what people have. Because if you strip a person from everything that they have, that's who they really are. So try to get to know people for who they are and stop trying to go so fast. Stop trying to move so fast. Like sit down, even if you got to get a pen or a paper, right? Or you get a notebook. Get a notebook. Get you a nice little notebook. And you're going to open that notebook. And what you're going to do is, I'm going to just give you an example just because we here. This is not school. This is not a class. This is something that if your monkey ass listen, you really going to learn something, right? What you're going to do is get a pen and a paper and write something on that. Write something down that says something like this. 20 years, right? 20 years from now, I want to be. Simple. It's not going to take you too much time. 20 years from now, I want to be. So what that means is who you want to be. What do you want to be in 20 years from now? Why is it important to know where you want to be 20 years from now? Because if you don't have no goal or no plan as to where you want to be 20 years from now, then that means you're going to mess up the next 15 years of your life. And that's a fact. Because you have no idea where you want to be in the future. So you have to do what's called some long-term planning. So you could say where you want to be 20 years from now, or you could set it off with something like, okay, how much money I want to have in 20 years. How much money I want to have in 20 years. Why is this one helpful? Because if you write down how much money you want to have in 20 years, then that means you're probably not going to be spending money and throwing money down the drain and wasting money the way that you're doing now. See, everything in life, you got to have a game plan, really honestly and truly. You can't follow what other people are doing. And this is why this generation right here, I'm going to be honest with you. And it's not only me that's saying it, right? It's so many other people that's saying it. And it's hurtful and it's painful too. But this is why they say this is one of the worst generations that we've ever experienced. Because nowadays, so many people got so much pride, but don't got nothing going on. They don't have nothing going on. You got some people that you got so many people nowadays that talk about who they think they are, who they feel they are, but can't even justify it. Nowadays, people rather talk to try to convince people of who they are, but they can't show you who they are. Because they don't got nothing going on. How, and this is no disrespect to females, but we just got to talk about it. How many females out there that we see that they got their bodies done, 95% of them is fake. Let's start from the top. The hair is fake. The eyebrows is fake. The eyelashes is fake. They got veneers in their mouth. They breast is fake. They got a tummy tuck. They got their butt done. And they got fake Louis Vuitton bags. But from head to their toe, their nails is done, their feet is done, they look cute. But from head to toe, 90% of a lot of females is fake. And the first thing they'll tell you, oh, you got to have this kind of job to be with me. You got to be making this amount of money to be with me. But they working in Taco Bell. Like, how real is that? Females would tell you, yo, you know, I want to go to eat in this restaurant. They pick the most expensive restaurant to go to and expect the dude to pay for it. They go into restaurants that they can't even afford to take themselves to. Or if they could afford to take themselves there, they don't take themselves there because that shit is expensive. That one meal that they gonna eat pretty much is more than what most of their monthly bills is. And dudes is no different. Nowadays, the kind of dudes that we got out here in society, a lot of these dudes want to sit on a video game all day, want to smoke weed all day, want to chill with the homies all day, don't want to be responsible for raising and taking care of their kids, but they got so many demands from a woman. You know? It's so many dudes locked up that females are accepting dealing with dudes that's dealing with multiple women. Like it's not diseases and stuff out here, you know? Like it ain't all kind of germs and bacteria. And then when you talk about when you look at the teenagers, what are the teenagers is doing? All of the teenagers, all they want to do is make TikTok videos all day, be online, you know, all day, walk around with a hood on, and it's 100 degrees outside. They want to chase around, you know, the little boys in the hood who got a little name or reputation or, you know, running around in a gang. It's like, where's the morals? Like, where's the values? Where's the substance? If we look at how things are going right now, just mentally, look at what's going on right now and then look 20 years in the future. Because what we seeing right now, the people that we seeing right now, they are the future. So if they not doing nothing right now to prepare themselves for the future, then what are we looking at for the future? It's priorities. People priorities is twisted. Like even the conversation from between yesterday and today, right? When the news was announced that Raful Edmonds was released from prison, right? I'm talking about on my timeline, it was like 100 people creating videos about him. But what's going on in the world right now? We got a black female running for president. And that's not getting as much press as some of the like nonsense we be talking about on social media. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, this is the kind of life that we live in. You know, Everybody pick and choose their own poison. Everybody pick and choose how they want to live their life. You know, what's important to them, what makes sense to them, you know? But if I was you, I would start trying to think into the future. I would look 20 years in the future and be like, okay, this is where I want to be. And then you start planning and preparing to become that. Cause nothing else out here makes sense. We living in the matrix. Um, a lot of people is not real no more. A lot of people is not standing. Forget about the streets. We didn't just spoke about that for a second. But a lot of people are not real nowadays. A lot of people are not dependable. A lot of people are not, trustworthy. If it's some real live situations and you really needed somebody, it's only a handful of people that you're gonna be able to depend on, that you're gonna be able to count on. This is the kind of world that we living in nowadays. You know, we idolizing people that shouldn't be idolized. We worshiping people that shouldn't be worshipped. We making important people who shouldn't even be made important because we don't have nobody else to look at. We don't have nobody else to aspire to be. And then when we look at other people, we not looking at other people and wanting to be like the person. We looking at other people and wanting to have what it is that they have. That's material. We can't get past the materialism. People judge you off of what you got nowadays. This world is so people judge you off of what you got. Like how does what you have determine the kind of individual that you are? Tell me that. And I was just looking at something on Instagram. I think it was yesterday. And Tory Lanez is fighting his appeal. Tory Lanez is trying to appeal his conviction. He got convicted for allegedly shooting Megan Thee Stallion. And he's filing an appeal right now. And then today I was looking on Instagram, he just dropped some new music. But Tory Lanez was one of those individuals, like real talented. I was looking at him, I'm like, yeah, man, like, I rock with Tory Lanez. And, his freestyles, like he go on Hot 97 and he doing his freestyles, he murdering it. He got some of the hottest songs out there. You ain't really hear too much about him. And then bam, one day you wake up, oh, Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion, allegedly. Then after that, you hear Tory Lanez got found guilty. Tory Lanez is taken into custody. Then after that, you hear Tory Lanez got sentenced to X and X amount of years in jail. But before he went to jail, everybody was looking at him like, man, Megan Thee Stallion, she ain't telling the truth. So it's like you can't judge. The moral of that story is you can't judge people, based on what it is that they have. You know, you don't look to be somebody because of what it is that they have. Look to be somebody because of the character it is that they have. See, materialism and things like that, anybody could accumulate that. Anybody could get jewelry, anybody could get cars, anybody could get houses, so long as you put in the work, so long as you put in the effort. You just got to figure out what you want to do. You got to figure out what you're good at. You got to figure out what you're willing to sacrifice to get what it is you want. You're not going to be successful if you want to sit on your ass all day. If you want to watch what other people doing all day, you're not going to be successful like that. But what's more important in life, being successful or being known for what it is that you have, twisted priorities. And now they even like it's just, you know. But yeah, man, Raful Edmonds, um, I know a lot of people definitely ain't feeling that. They ain't feeling the fact that, man, he got the whole Washington D.C. looking crazy. Um, but it's nothing new. Like don't be surprised. Every state that you think of, um, every gang in the world that you could think of, those are elements that you always gonna have, you know? You always gonna have. The streets is an illusion. Um, the streets is like the Matrix. Do yourself a favor, don't get caught up in it, because you're gonna regret it, you know? Even um wanting to be like other people that you see because of what it is that they have. You got, look, and this is the thing about rich people, and this is the thing about people that got some real money. They spend most of their time trying to hide the fact that they have money. Look at people like Jeff Bezos and what's the one that Mark Zuckerberg. He's the one that started Facebook. But look at those two individuals, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, just those three right there. Most of the time when you see them, do you see them looking flashy? Do you see them looking fancy? Do you see them with a lot of jewelry? Do you see them showing off their houses? Do you see them showing off their cars? Do you see them talking about their bank accounts? You don't see it. You know why you don't see it? Because it's not necessary. They don't have to show it. People that got real money, they ain't gonna show it to you because they understand how the world works. If you show somebody that you got a lot of money, you just putting yourself in a position for somebody to come take it from you, for somebody to come hit you upside the head. So, stop thinking that flossing and that flashy and thinking like that's life. That's corny. That's preschool. That's immature. If you gotta get up here in front and stun and, you know, like act like you got some money, ain't nobody impressed. Because people that got real money, they ain't got to show it. People that's really doing good in life, they ain't going out of their way. They ain't going out of their way to try to impress you with what it is that they have. It's not about that, you know? But those are called character deficiencies. Some people characters are deficient. People that don't have a lot to offer, they're going to put out illusion. People that don't have a lot going on, they're going to try to put out illusion. Illusion. You got to understand. You got to be able to see the difference. You can look at somebody right now today that don't have nothing going on, but they can have the mindset, they can have the work ethic, they can have the attributes of somebody that's going to be successful. Because people that's going to be successful, you see that like years and years before a person actually be successful. But my thing is, instead of constantly coming together to go to rap concerts, to go to the club, to go to sporting events, to go to places where you just getting dressed for people to look at you, how about try to create a different network? How about try to connect with a couple of people that got some goals and that got some ideas and that got some resources where y'all could put your heads together and y'all could really make something happen for real? How about that? Like how about start doing things different? How about stop being so shallow, you know? Stop being so shallow. How about stop being, big I, little you? How about that? How about working together as a team instead of everybody trying to be the boss or everybody trying to outshine everybody or everybody trying to be bigger than everybody else or you judging people because of, where they get their hair done, where they get their nails done, where they get their hair cut. You looking at this person bag and say, oh, they bag is small, they ain't like that. Or, oh, this person got a big bag, so, like, oh, this person got a nice car, so, they really, like, stop judging people based on what it is that they have. Because all it says about you is that you a shallow person. And nobody should take you serious. If you only want to form relationships with people based on what it is that they have, then that means you a shallow person. That means you not bringing nothing to the table. And eventually you're going to get exposed, you know? Eventually you're going to get exposed. This is a matrix kind of world that we living in. This is a social media world that we living in. The people that are living in reality, um, they get called lames or nobody by people who really are lames and nobody. You know? Yeah, man. I just wanted to touch on this Raful Edmonds thing real quick. I had an idea. I had a concept. I had like a whole, you know, I had a whole presentation how I wanted to do this video. But sometimes you just kind of go in another direction and you just gotta go with it. You just gotta flow with it. So, you know, I appreciate everybody that popped out and that, stopped in for the video. I got a lot of different content up there. Um, I'm gonna continue to, hit y'all with different content. But this is just another example, man. And hopefully this is another message to the streets of why you should stay out of the streets and why you shouldn't idolize people in the streets. Because I'm pretty sure 20, 30, 40 years ago, they was looking up to Raful Edmonds. They was idolizing him. Like he was like a god, you know? And just that simple. It don't take much to foul out, you know? It don't take much to foul out. Um, and the crazy thing is I don't even think he care. I don't think he care about fouling out. Because for him, it's like, what? Man, I made it out of prison after 35 years. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. Because he's a hustler. He know how to get money. He know how to organize. He know how to make it happen. So he's not really worrying about, what nobody think about him or what nobody feel about him. You know? I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, he's comfortable with his decision. And, for everybody else, it's just gonna be a topic of discussion. But he ain't really worrying about that. He ain't really stunting that. And nobody else should either. Um, everybody make their own. Everybody make their own life choices. Everybody make their own decisions. You know, and everybody is accountable for their actions. And that's just what it is. Life goes on. Today, Raful Edmonds is the topic. By next week, after everybody didn't talk about it, they gonna forget about him and they gonna be off to something else. It's probably already another trending topic right now. So ain't nobody stunned that. Ain't nobody worrying about that. But people should be more concerned with like putting their heads together, networking and trying to make something happen. That's more important. Materialism, and it all it is. That's all it is. Material items. That's all it is. Can you hold a good conversation? Do you have some skills? What kind of skills you have? What can you do? If you was part of a team, what can you bring to the table? That's what you got to ask yourself. That's something you should probably ask yourself. If you was part of a team, what should you bring to the table? You know, if you single and you got a lot of free time or whatever, man, enjoy that. Just like once you're in a relationship, enjoy that. But try to network with people and learn something and try to grow together and come out of this world of what do you call it? Come out of this matrix world, you know, where everybody is fake and phony and shallow and like I don't even want to be around people no more, you know. A lot of times that's how I be feeling. I don't even want to be around. I don't even want to be bothered. Like I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be around it. Cause it's like life is so shallow nowadays. People don't got you sit down and have a conversation with somebody. Oh, you seen these latest this? Oh, you seen these new this? Oh, I'm gonna get that. Oh, I can't wait to this drop off. Oh, you seen this new car? Oh, I want to go on vacation here. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? You know? But we want to see what's up with a 20-year plan. We want to see what's up with a 20-year goal. Um, we want to see what we could accomplish in 20 years. So, if you rocking with that, man, put a 20 in the comment section. Even if you don't put it in the comment section and you see this video later, that's something that you should focus on. Because look, and this is before I go, I'm gonna tell you this, right? So no matter what age you are right now, in 20 years, if you're still fortunate enough to be living, you're going to be 20 years older. So 20 years from now, you're going to be faced with like some challenges. Because as you get older, body ain't working the same, mind ain't working the same. You probably need glasses. You probably need a walker. You probably have a little bit of gray hair. Maybe you doing good right now, but in 20 years from now, something could have happened. You could have got in an accident. You could have been married and got a divorce. You could have splurged and spent most of your money on material items that don't mean nothing. So 20 years from now, a lot of people that you see around you, a lot of people that you deal with, especially a lot of people that got something going on. In 20 years from now, a lot of them gonna be broke. A lot of them ain't gonna have nothing. It's the same thing like, you 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you was probably a kid, you was probably in your teens or whatever. Remember the people that you was looking at, those people that had everything going on, they had the cars, they had the jewelry, everything was going good for them in life. And you look at them now and these people is washed up. These folks is washed up. You don't even want to sit down and have a conversation with them. You looking at them like, man, what happened to your life? Is life happens to life, man. Life happens to life. Some people you see doing good now, in 20 years, them folk ain't gonna be doing good. Again, it's the same thing like when you was younger. 20 years ago, before you started on your quest to making things happen, you was looking at people like, like they was somebody because they had a little bit going on and now they don't got nothing going on. Now their whole life went down the drain. I see like, and I'm gonna leave after this, but I seen a couple of females on social media. Like every once in a while this happen, right? I seen a couple of females on social media that I went to school with or that I grew up with, right? And everybody was trying to talk to them like they were so popular, they were so lit. I'm 47 years old, so I went to school like quite some years ago, right? And I remember it was certain people I used to look at and like, wow, like, what I'm saying? She cute or she popular. I see them same females now on social media and I be like, that's how life goes. Just because somebody is looking good right now, that don't necessarily mean they're gonna be looking like that when they get older. See, for me, one of the best attributes, one of the best assets that I got right now about myself is look, I'm 47 years old. I don't look like I'm 47. Even if I wanted to like dye my beard gray, I still could pass for a good 30. You know? Why? Because I take care of myself. I take care of my body because I'm thinking like, okay, I want to be out here 70, 80 years old. If the man upstairs help me see that, I want to be here. I want to be prepared. I mean, you got to take care of yourself. You got to invest in yourself. It's only 24 hours in a day. Be careful how you spend them 24 hours. Just like when you get paid, when you get that paycheck, be careful how you spend that money. It's 24 hours in a day. So we're going to break these 24 hours down and then I'm going to get up out of here, right? So out of those 24 hours, you sleeping 8 hours. Most people sleeping 8 hours in a day. If you got a job, you working 8 hours. So that's 16 hours. That's already accounted for. That's 2/3 of your life of every day. So now you only have 8 more hours out of the day. What are you going to spend your 8 hours doing? Are you going to spend them on the phone talking to somebody? You're going to spend them playing a video game? You're going to spend them trying to convince people you the shiz naive? What are you going to spend your 8 hours doing? Because most people only have 8 hours a day to get their life. You working 8 hours and you sleeping 8 hours. That's 16 down. So what are you investing your other hours in? Because the way that you invest those hours, that's going to determine where you're going to end up in the long run. You got to understand it. Stop letting people convince you that what you see right now and what's going on right now is reality. No, this is the present. Don't forget, there's a past, this is the present, and then there's a future. So you can live in the present, but you got to prepare for your future. What you want your future to be? If you're not thinking about your future, you bugging, you crazy. Why you not thinking about your future? Why you not thinking about where you're going to be 10 years from now? Why you not putting no money away for a rainy day so you can have some money when you get older? You know what I'm saying? Think about the times that, okay, you may not be able to work for whatever reason. You got to start planting seeds for the future. And those things take time. You know, those things take time. I'm a kind of anomaly, so don't mind me. It sometimes I'm gonna talk about somebody like Raful Edmonds, and then sometimes I'm gonna get some encouraging, encouraging information. But man, look, make sure y'all check out my shorts because my shorts be lit. I be dropping like a lot of little good content on my shorts, and check out some of my content. You know, check out some of my content. I just wanted to pop in and say what up and see what up with the folks. Appreciate everybody that popped out. Even if you only popped out for a couple of minutes. If you spend a couple of minutes with me, then man, we all good. It's all to the good. But yeah, it's like the video said, man, it's not too difficult to get away with murder. You got people that do it every day. Don't live according to nobody else standards. Set your own standards and live by those. Align yourself with people who have the same standards as you, and surround yourself with people that are trying to build, not those that are trying to destroy. So if you dealing with people that's, into destroying their life, into destroying everything they touch, into breaking everything they touch, people that are not dependable, people that are not reliable, like stop wasting your time. You know, it's just like sports. You gotta create a team around you of people that want to win. If you're not dealing with championship type people, championship caliber people, then get you a new friend circle, because this is 2024 and ain't no more time to waste time. We got a black female that's running for president of the United States. Whether y'all want to consider her black or y'all want to consider her other, if y'all don't look at race, we have a female that's running for president. A female that's running for president. So that just says, man, females, y'all could do whatever it is that y'all put y'all mind to. Females can do whatever it is that they put their minds to. And for the gentlemen, we already had a black president, which is Barack Obama. You know what I'm saying? They done put the chicken wings with the rice and gravy. They done had that all through the White House. They had the White House smelling like chitlins, turkey neck, mac and cheese, greens, cabbage, oxtails. They didn't have the White House, they had the White House smelling like that good old soul food. So yeah, man, 2024, man, let's get it together. Let's get it together. Yeah, it's a lot be going on in the community, but it's time to connect with people who really trying to do something, who really trying to accomplish something, and put your mind with this. And see, you got to be versatile, right? That's another thing that's important. You got to be versatile. Like we could sit down, we could have a conversation about what's going on in the streets. We could have a conversation about what's going on in the world. We could talk a little politics. We could talk a little sports, and versatility. Um, but yeah, for whatever reason, like the topic that I had lined up, and everything that I wanted to go along with that topic, it ain't go like that. It went in this direction. For whatever reason it did, hey, it went in that direction. But if you popped out to tap in with me, I appreciate it. Um, enjoy your afternoon. Everybody be safe, stay sucker free. Um, don't believe the hype, you know. Don't believe the hype. If somebody is doing too much to try to convince you of something, 9 times out of 10, that's not what it is. They're trying to convince you. They're trying to convince you. If a person is going hard to convince you that they have a certain type, they have a certain character, they have a certain cloth, don't believe them. Because a lot of people are actors. They going for a Grammy. A lot of people out here wasting time. They wasting space. But yeah, I'm going to be back at y'all though. I just wanted to pop out and do a live. Yeah, it's almost 3 o'clock. So we going to, yeah, man, we going to spin off. But yeah, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Again, we were just having a little conversation. We were just having a little powwow. I want to set it up in the future where it could be a little bit more interactive, where people want to jump on the live and they want to chop it up or they want to join in the discussion, then I could do that. So that'll be coming in the future. But like, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Even if you didn't enjoy the content, put a comment and let me know what you was thinking. If you just popped out and you only got a couple of minutes and you ain't hear anything, it's all good. The conversation didn't go the way that I wanted it to. For whatever reason we switch gears. But I just wanted to pop out and just jump on the live and hit y'all with a live, because I just been doing a lot of videos lately. But yeah, man, the journey continues. Look at where you want to be 20 years from now. Look at what you want to have accomplished in 20 years and have your 20-year plan. Have your 20-year plan, because 20 years is going to be gone before you know it. And if you don't put no time and effort into accomplishing something right now, ain't no telling what life going to be like for you. But yeah, it's Tyrone Hunter. I'm out of here. It's another edition of What's Really Good Entertainment.